I've got some sugar and cream, a fairly standard worsted or Aran weight yarn. I think they normally recommend a 5 or 5.5 hook for those, and I've gone slightly lower with a 4.5mm or size 7 hook. So there's the one half of the button. I'm going to make the other half now, which will go on the opposite side of the button. That's the wrong side there, and this is the right side. The stitches look much more defined on the right side, and you can see how it has that extra round compared to the other button. Pull out 8 inches or 20 centimeters, 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, slip stitch to close the loop, and then I'll be working into the center of that 4 chain loop. So 1 chain to rise up, that doesn't count as a stitch, and 6 UK double crochets or US single crochets. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the top of the first stitch. Put out some more yarn so it doesn't pull the ball over, and slip stitch there to close. Now, because I crocheted over the yarn, I can tighten that up, and I can work another chain to start the next round. I'll be working 2 of the same stitches into each of the 6 stitches of the first round to create 12. So that's 1 UK double crochet or 1 US single crochet, and 2 into the same stitch, and I'll be doing the same thing, 2 into each stitch into all the others. Slip stitch there. Take care not to work into your slip stitch from the previous round, or you'll end up with 14 stitches. An extra chain to start the optional third round. The button can stop there like the original button did and just be 2 rounds in size. So now we're going to work 1 stitch in there, 2 stitches in the next stitch, and again we're using UK double crochet, US single crochet, 1 stitch in the next stitch, 2 in the next. And we'll be doing the same all the way around. Slip stitch into that stitch there, the first one of the round, and then pull out another 20 centimeters, 8 inches, and trim. And now we have the 2 buttons, 2 halves of the button, and we want to assemble them together. So we'll start by tightening up the centre. As I crocheted over the stitch, that counts as working round once already. But if you hadn't done that, you could just work the yarn around once. And then, so it's gone round once in this direction through all of those stitches. So I'm going to catch the next stitch and go back the other way. And that should make sure it's really secure. So once through that stitch, once through that stitch, through there, once through there, and once through that stitch, and that one. There we go. So that's a nice secure middle. That's a lovely tight centre there for the button. It won't be coming undone. And what I need to do next, keeping this on there, I'm going to take this one through the centre of this button so that it will be on the right side of this button, half, and then I'm going to take this one through the same button, so not through its own centre but through the other half centre, So these two centre strands will come out in the same place. So that's the thread with which we'll attach the button to the garment or bag or whatever it's going on. And the next thing we want to do is use one of these tails that we created initially to attach the button sides to each other. Let's wind that through. This has got a slight catch on the eye of the needle, but it seems to go in okay. So I'm going to go through the back loop of that V there. So you can see you've got the V, which is the head of the stitch of round 3. And I'm going to take the loop that's nearest only. I'm not going to go through both of them. And then do the same on the other side, just the loop that's nearest the other button. And that's a whip stitch, and I'm going to do the same all the way around. Maybe it needs to be a little bit longer for the largest size button in thicker yarns. If not, I can actually use the other end as well. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll update the pattern to say leave a little extra yarn if you're making the large size in a thick yarn. So I'll just finish that one off with an extra stitch to secure it, and then tuck that end inside. Now we can start using the other end as well. It hasn't got so far to go round, so it should be plenty. I'll work through the next one anyway, and then work an extra stitch, and then just work through the centre of the button. And so those finished tails, I can just trim those off. I don't need those anymore, but the start tails will be what I use to secure the button unless I want a contrast colour. If you want a contrast colour, you could just trim those off as they are because they've already been woven through the centre. And now that could be sewn on the fabric. So that would be sewn on there, to come up through the centre and then go down and up and down, just like sewing a normal button on. Or alternatively, you could just go back through again and wind the yarn repeatedly around there to make a shank style button. That can be really useful if you're trying to put it through a really thick fabric like a winter coat. So that's the first button in crochet.